Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our session with IIT Kanpur. Today, we are here to address a very, very pertinent question that all of us keep wondering about. Where is AI taking us? Is it really going to take our jobs in the future? I have with me today Professor Ashutosh Modi from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, who is deeply embedded in the world of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and is here to answer all your questions, talk to us about what the future looks like, some of the work that he's doing right now, and then walk us basically through what all of you want to know everything about. Welcome, Professor Modi.
Okay, so yeah, maybe I can just give a small presentation, right?
Right.
And yeah, so that will cover some of the points that I want to say. So I'm just sharing my screen. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I think this is one of the very hot questions nowadays, and everyone is thinking what will happen once like full-fledged AI technologies come into being, get integrated into our society, right? I mean, many people are sort of fearing that our jobs are going to go away because many of the things would get automated. So this is sort of a very brief overview of things, and I will try to address some of your concerns via this. So let me first start with the general things that are going on in the AI world. So as you might be aware, you come across these headlines, right? Like AI would take over the call center jobs, right? I mean, there have been these news in various newspapers. And then I think recently GPT-4o was also released, and you can see that it does so realistic conversations, and it can understand you so well. So there was these headlines which said that maybe it could take up a lot of the edtech business and call center business, right? And similarly, there are a lot of concerns about all these things, and given that all these technologies are there, people have started thinking, is this a new age altogether where AI is going to revolutionize everything? And in fact, if you see more on the monetary side, like almost it is projected that AI is going to add around almost 500 billion to the India's GDP. That's a huge number, right? And almost 97 million people are expected to work in the field of AI by end of next year, and almost like $15.7 trillion would be on the global basis, right, by 2030. So you can see that AI as a technology is going to impact in a big way in the entire world, not just India but entire world. And so see, as I say, as it happened with many technologies which have come into being, right? Like for example, when industrial revolution started in the 18th century, that point, many of the jobs which were manually done by humans were taken up by the machines, and that actually increased the efficiency of the various processes and various things that were going on in the society. And overall there was development in the society, right? And similarly, same thing happened when computers came into mainstream, right? And many of the jobs got automated, and it helped in developing it helped to make progress much faster compared to what it was before, right? So similarly, I see AI as similar technology which is going to be an enabler for the society. It's going to help the society to go forward and in more positive ways. So right now, the idea is, the way I see is that is similar to previous technologies which have sort of revolutionized the society. AI is also going to augment our abilities, and it's going to help us be more efficient so that many of the mundane things could be taken over by AI, and we can concentrate more on the more creative and more sort of intellectually more demanding things, basically, right? So that's how I see it. And as there have been also these reports which says that AI, especially like generative AI, can increase the productivity quite a bit among various professionals and workers, right? And here you can see these different numbers and figures which tell you that what sort of impact it is going to have in different areas, right? And in fact, if you look in the jobs for the future, there have been these newspaper reports by various newspapers and agencies that it says that many of the jobs, many new jobs are going to come into being once AI is uh, comes in full fledged into the society, right? Like around 12 million jobs are going to be there. And similarly, there would be a lot of need for specialists in AI itself by the end of next year, right? Like you would see if you are developing some new AI technology, obviously you will also need specialists who can handle sometimes some technology might suffer some sort of malfunctioning. So you need specialists who understand these technologies and uh, are able to fix it basically, right? So those specialists are also would be required. So that itself is also creating a lot of new jobs, right? And like in India itself, like almost as you can read in this headlines from Business Today, that 85% of the Indian employers expect that AI will create new jobs in next 5 years, right? And AI, it's not just AI, but many technologies which come along with it, like cybersecurity and basically like ethics and big data, and all these are sort of come together, right? So all these types of jobs are going to come up, like as you can see, cybersecurity AI analyst, AI consultant, AI ethics specialist. So ethics is really important, right? And this is going to play a major role. And there has been a lot of work in the AI community where they are trying to align the AI technologies along with the human values. So this is sort of popularly called as a alignment problem. So a lot of work is going on there. And then obviously it's for generative AI. I mean, they would be generative AI related positions, and then product managers, and then engineers for natural language processing and computer vision and all those kind of things. So overall, what I see is that AI is going to make us sort of more efficient, and also it's going to create a lot more jobs. So as I mean, the future is not AI versus human, but it's AI plus human, basically, right? So AI is going to assist us and help us become even better, and help us to uh, uh, progress even faster, right? And many of the things which we had not thought about for next, let's say, 20 years could be done much faster in maybe next 5 6 years, basically, right? So preparing, given that, so I think you sort of need to also enhance your skill set based on what the technology is going to come, right? So and you also need to prepare yourself for the upcoming changes. So many of the mundane things that you used to do manually now could be done by AI. So you don't need to concentrate on those skills, but you need to concentrate on skills which would be complementary to what AI can do, basically, right? So with that note, maybe I will sort of end my presentation here, and then maybe we'll have a discussion in this regard.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. That was really, really insightful, and it shows us a little bit of a picture of what the future looks like, contrary to the usual sentiment that it's just going to take over and all of us are going to be put aside and sidelined, kind of a thing. So that's definitely very, very helpful. Sir, from the quotes that the quotations or the numbers that you have mentioned in the presentation, there was one which says that there are 12 million jobs that will be probably created in the near future. So, what is the nature, do you think, of those kind of jobs? Because obviously, with the new technology, the requirements and the nature will become different of the people who are working, who are professionals in this. So, what is that nature of a job that you think is going to be very, very in demand?
Yeah, so see, so as I said, like in the presentation as well, like many of the mundane jobs which were done earlier by humans, also some of these very labor-intensive jobs which were done by humans could be taken over by AI-based technologies, right? So those jobs, I think we don't really need to develop skills for, right? What we need to develop is something which would be complementary to AI. So some things like creative jobs, for example, and also technology oriented jobs where you understand the technology very well in depth, basically, because sometimes these machines might malfunction, right? So then you need someone to sort of fix these. And also these there are going to be large number of these technologies deployed in various parts of the world. So to fix these, you will need specialists as well, right? And also further develop these, you need things like researchers who further advance the technology. And other than this, I mean, like things like natural sciences, there, I mean, there has to be a very strong human involvement there, because many of the I think many of the laws are yet to be discovered, right? Like laws of nature have yet to be discovered, because we don't really understand nature fully. And similarly, like in biology, we don't really understand the entire neuroscience and all those things fully. So there you need humans augmented with AI technologies to make new insights, right? So those kind of things, which are, I mean, obviously this involves a lot of creativity as well, right? So that's where you will have an edge, and these are the kind of jobs you should actually sort of prepare for.
Okay, right. So, and how about what kind of skills do you think are required? What is it that people who want to get into this profession and progress further in the same stream, what are the key things that they should concentrate on while building their career?
So yeah, so people who want to go into, let's say, CS sort of stream, for example, so they, I think, should concentrate on the fundamentals of obviously computer science, but also fundamentals of the AI technologies itself. So because suppose if you want to become a specialist in the AI domain, then obviously your fundamentals have to be very, very strong, because you should know in depth what's going on inside the system that you are sort of trying to fix. So that you should build on. And I think during your, for example, bachelor's, you should build these fundamentals very well, and start with these fundamentals, and then start building on top of that, trying to go more complex based on these simple things, basically, right? So that's one thing. And but if you are interested in other areas also, there, like uh, for example, natural sciences, there also, I think you should be concentrating on the fundamentals, and assuming you should know that, okay, there are these technologies which can readily provide me information, AI-based technology, we can readily provide these information. So what do I make out of these information? That interpretation has to come from you, right? I mean, machine may not be able to interpret everything. So for that, you need to develop that sort of mindset, which can only come by sort of trying out different things and different experiments, right? So that is something you need to develop. And uh, same, I think, applies for other professions as well. Like for example, if someone is in arts, right? So they are also uh, you might so you can always augment your creativity with along with AI, right? Like, I mean, nowadays you have these AI generators which can generate really nice images and paintings and those things. But you can always use that as a starting point and then come up with even something better, right? So that kind of thing also would be there. So I think so the way you should prepare is that you should not be averse to these technologies, but first learn to these technologies in the most creative way possible, because these technologies can have very multiple usages, right? So if you know how to use these become sort of a tool for you, and then using these tools, you can do whatever you want to, basically.
Right, sir.
Mm.
So going into some of the very, very interesting works that you are into right now, some of the projects that you're working on, if you can take us through one or two of the works that is going on, then that would be really great for everybody to know the applications, the kind of applications that one can get into.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, so I am okay. So I work on like different projects, and particularly I work in area called natural language processing (NLP). So here the idea is to automatically understand language, right? The languages that are spoken by humans, basically. So one work which I'm right now quite interested in and doing is on the legal side. So what we want to develop is systems that can understand legal language and legal documents. So, for example, in India, you have these huge backlog of pending cases. So, just to give an idea, like we have almost like 50 million pending cases at different levels, like district court and high court and Supreme Court. So that's a huge number, and this number might be more than the population of many countries, right? So given that backlog, and can we develop some technologies which can help to ease this thing, right? And which can automate many of these processes which are leading to this kind of backlog. So there we are developing technologies for understanding legal documents automatically, so that you can seek any information, or and also things like judgment prediction, where you're given some facts of the case. Can the AI system predict the outcome or the judgment, whether the appeal is accepted or denied, right? So that kind of thing. And then also things like when usually when you're writing a case, you cite the previous precedents which were there. So can you so traditionally, lawyers have used their own memory and experience to cite the previous cases. But can you automate this where you provide certain facts, and then the AI system will retrieve the prior precedents or prior cases which are applicable in this setting, right? So these kind of things. So these are some of the things in the legal space that I've been doing. And then another area which I have been working on is more on the multimodal side, which means that uh, you want to understand not just the text, but also other modalities like video, audio, speech, and all those things. So the idea here is that let's say you are given some video, and then you want to understand the emotional state of the person in that video. So trying to do the emotional profiling of the person. And so they might be people who are talking in the video, want to understand what sort of emotional state they are in. So this can be useful for various applications. For example, you want to understand what the customer feels about your product, right? So you could do some sort of emotional analysis of the customer, and that can tell you like whether they like the product or they are not really happy with your product. Similarly, it could be useful for mental health, where you analyze the video of a person to find out like if they might be suffering from certain ailments like anxiety or depression and those kind of things, right? And another interesting use case could be like this kind of technology could be in your car, where it sort of monitors your emotional profile and suggests you that this is not a good time to drive because you may not be in a good emotional state, right? So these are some of the use cases that I've been working on. And another thing which I've been interesting thing which I've been working on the sign language. This is more on the accessibility side. So like India has a huge population of DHH community, deaf and hard of hearing community. There are almost like 66 million DHH community members, which is like a huge number. And they usually communicate with each other in sign language, which is non-spoken language, right? So, but when they want to communicate with the rest of the population, they face a lot of challenges. So what we are trying to develop is some sort of sign language translation system where there is a person who's speaking in sign language. Can you translate it to spoken language like English or Hindi or whatever language you have? And the other way around also, given some text in spoken language like Hindi or English, can you generate an avatar which will do the sign language, right? So that is the generation side. So this is another project. So these are some of the projects. I work on a lot of other things, but maybe maybe I'll discuss those sometime later. Yeah.
Absolutely. So sounds very, very interesting. So one thing would be that um, do you also work with the current students in all of these projects? Do they approach you? How does this have ecosystem of students getting an opportunity for such kind of one-on-one or hands-on experiences? How does that happen?
Yeah, so all these projects are with students only, so at different levels. So like I work with, so I have my group here, right? So I have PhD students who work on many of these projects, but then there are also master students who do their master thesis with me, and then of course UGs are also there. They do their something called UGP, undergraduate project, right? So I basically involve with all students at all levels, basically, right? And yeah, I enjoy working with students. I mean, they are sort of young and they bring in a lot of new ideas, right? And they're quite enthusiastic about things. So that sort of motivates me even more to sort of move forward, basically.
Right, sir. Absolutely.
Mm.
Before we get into the questions from the audience that we have, can you tell us a little bit about the ecosystem at IIT Kanpur in general? How we are facilitating these very um, new technologies, how we are trying to pioneer, or in fact, I would not say try to, we are actually pioneering some of these cutting edge technologies and doing some great work in these domains. So, just a little brief about the ecosystem, about the UG courses, and the facilitation that we actually end up doing over here for students.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, see, I mean, given that we have been pioneering a lot of these new technologies, itself says that a lot of, I mean, the ecosystem itself is sort of has been quite successful, right? So, So yeah, so I mean, so I think the research part, because all of these new technology require a lot of research. So I think the research part starts itself at the undergrad level itself, right? And usually in the first 2 years, students are doing some of the fundamental courses, but after that, once they have good grasp over the fundamentals and foundations are strong, then they start working with on different projects. And the great thing about IIT Kanpur is that there's a lot of academic freedom. So you can work on whatever project is of your interest and whatever you are curious about. And in fact, there is no very hard and fast rule that you have to work within your department only. So some of my projects have been with students who are in different department, not computer science department. So that sort of cross department collaboration is also quite encouraged here. And then we also have a very nice ecosystem of startups here. Like, I mean, we have the Startup Incubation Center, which is, I think, one of the best in India as per the NIRF ranking. So that also helps a lot, because then students also sometimes get involved in these startups via internships and projects and those kind of things. So they also get to know the practical aspects of the things that they are developing. And in fact, many of the students also have started their own companies here. So the ITK supports them a lot with that as well. So that also helps a lot, basically. So overall, yeah, I think, I mean, it's a very nice and rich ecosystem which promotes a lot of research and sort of innovation.
Right, absolutely, absolutely, sir. We'll now direct our attention to the questions that we've been getting, which is what we are here for also as part of our webinar today. So I'm going to throw the questions at you, sir. Uh, Priyanshu from HPTU is asking, sir, having a strong understanding of complex data structures is necessary for successful career in AI ML.
Yeah, definitely. See, AI/ML also involves a lot of coding, right? So for coding, you need to have good understanding of the algorithms and data structures, right? So that is a sort of a must. And another thing which I would add there is also good, strong foundations in mathematics, right? At least the applied mathematics, you should have very strong foundations, particularly like linear algebra and probability and statistics.
Right, sir. So the next one is, again, Priyanshu is asking, can you provide us an in-depth layout of AI and ML? And before you will start, I will only say, Priyanshu, these are huge courses and a lifelong learning. So I don't think it's a one sentence answer in a webinar, but I will leave that to you,
But
sir.
I think, yeah, you're right. It's a very huge thing. But maybe I would suggest you can check out the list of courses that are there, right, on the ITK websites. In fact, on computer science website. So there you could get an idea about all the courses and what sort of things we have, basically.
Right. Okay, next one is that um, Imad Noor Shamsi is asking, he's in his first year of engineering in a private college under EKTU, and he's asking, what can I do starting from now to learn demanding skills and gain a high paying job?
Okay. So see, okay. So one thing is, which I usually tell my students is that you should concentrate on your skills and not on the monetary aspect of the job, basically. Because if your skills are good, then you will automatically get a high paying job, right? Because the problem in today's market is that companies want to hire really good skillful people, but they are not able to find good skillful people, and they are ready to pay you well, but you should have that skill. So my answer to this question would be that you should start building very strong foundations in, as I said, like coding has to be very strong, and obviously data structures and algorithms have to be strong. Then linear algebra, probability, and statistics have to be strong. And after that, start building. If you're particularly interested in AI field, then you should have very strong foundations in machine learning, and then obviously AI itself, classical AI, including classical AI, right? And then go to more advanced like computer vision and NLP and those areas, basically.
So we have a question, the next question from Prem Petkar, who says, what are the good sources to learn good skills from a beginning level?
Yeah, so good sources. See, most of these, I mean, there is some standard textbooks, right? which I think most of the I mean, those are also prescribed by all the, I think, all the standard engineering colleges, right? And also these you can also find on IITK course list, course website, basically. So I see it's a big question because there are so many of these. So it's sort of difficult to cover in a single, I mean, in a single list, right? So, but like machine learning, there are lots of good textbooks which are available. So, like, I mean, if you want to do start with machine learning, like there's one really good book by Christopher Bishop, which is called Pattern Recognition and Machine Learning. So that is a really nice book to start with, right? So similarly for AI, I think this Norwig's book is really good. So that is so this is also like a very foundational book, right? So these two, but there, I mean, obviously for every area there are lots of books available. So yeah, I think yeah, it's a long list, so I won't be able to cover everything here.
Right, right. I think the best source would be to go to the IT website, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Just to take away from another, like a follow-up question on this from my end, actually, a lot of these, online courses of all varying degrees are available these days, and online education is becoming very, very rampant and strong, which is great. But how does one navigate into choosing what is the right way to start, their journey into something like this? How does one choose where to go, and what is the correct source?
Yeah, see, okay, so I'm not aware of all the online courses that are available for AI. So, but the general guideline would be that you start with the foundational courses, like which will be covering part of mathematics, which I was saying earlier. And if your coding skills are already really good, then you don't need to cover those. But then go for the courses which start from like grounds up, in the sense that they start teaching machine learning from the foundations, and usually go for courses where you see some sort of expert in that field who is teaching that course, right? Like, for example, if you're going for a machine learning course, try to go for a course where there might be some, let's say, some professor or some expert in the machine learning area who is teaching that course. Because see, there are so many courses that, I mean, not all of them are good, right? So some of them might be like just a little not that great. So always try to learn from the experts, right? So always see, usually many of these courses have like these professors who are teaching these courses, so try to learn from them because they are the expert. So they will be able to give you more genuine advice, and I mean, the things that they're going to tell you is obviously going to be factually correct as well.
Right, sir. So the next question is, how can governments and organizations prepare for potential job losses due to AI?
Okay. See, this is a very sort of a difficult question because right now we are also not clear. I mean, exactly what sort of job losses, if they are going to be happening, right? So once because AI technologies have not come full fledged into society, they are just beginning to come. So in general, my suggestion is that trying to upend your skills basically, so that if you come, I mean, if some of your jobs that are sort of more mundane are taken up by AI, then you have the skill set to switch to a new sort of setting and new sort of jobs that will also come, right? So I think in general you should always keep learning, in right, you should not never stop learning. And because usually, like especially in India, I've seen that people tend to, once they're going to job, they think like learning is, let's stop learning and that's it for our lives. But learning is a continuous process which should keep happening throughout the life. So if you keep learning, keep up trying keep upgrading your skills, then I think you will always be on the safer side. Keep upgrading yourself with the latest things that are going on basically.
Absolutely, that's a great thought, sir. So next one, Aman is asking, what are your thoughts about the recent upsurge in the domain of language transformers, and what can be expected in the days to come?
So recent, yeah, you're right. So recently, like LLMs, I guess language transformer, you mean LLMs. So yeah, LLMs have become sort of mainstream, and they have sort of revolutionized the NLP domain as well. And but see, these LLMs also are not perfect. I mean, you might have also seen when you are using ChatGPT that it is sometimes hallucinating. It is giving wrong answers, right? So there's a lot of work that needs to be done where these hallucinations are taken care. And another thing is that these are not aligned with many of the human values. Sometimes they produce toxic content, or they might be giving misinformation, which can be very harmful for the society. So those things also need to be taken care of. And other than another, more on the architecture side, these are very heavy architectures, in the sense they need a lot of compute. So the focus is also on the making more smaller architecture, which could possibly also fit in the edge device, and they could be also these models which are very specific to a particular domain, right? So that sort of work is also ongoing. And also in general, like the idea is also to make these LLMs multimodal, which means that they understand not just text but also other modalities like video and audio and all sorts of other modalities that are there. So these are some of the interesting directions which are going, and also trying to come up with more efficient architectures like state space models have also been proposed. So those are also upcoming, because these are much more efficient than the transformer architecture in terms of the sort of the compute that they require.
Right, sir, right. Next one is, as someone interested in machine learning, would you recommend pursuing further studies through the GATE CSE route, or should I consider entering corporates?
See, yeah, it depends on what you want to do at the end, right? If you I mean, sometimes you can learn a lot in the company as well. Like, for example, if you go join some startup, right? So there, you might be working on some really niche product, so you will get to learn a lot during product development itself. So that is one option. But also, yeah, I mean, going through via Gate and formally learning it is also another option. So both the options are have their own pros and cons. So I mean, I won't say that one is better than the other. It also sort of depends what really you want in the end, right? So so suppose if you want to remain in job forever, like you don't want to go into academia for like PhD or those kind of things, then maybe startup might be a good option for you to go, because there you will learn a lot. Especially in the smaller startups, you get to learn a lot more than in a bigger company, because in bigger company it depends on which team you land up in, right? So that might be an option. But if you are more interested on the academic side, want to go for PhD, and or you are more interested in the research, then I think Gate would be a better option.
Right. So next one, Mridul is asking, what are the potential benefits of AI in a workplace?
Oh, so that's I mean, that's there are a lot of benefits, right? So many of the things that you do, those could be automated. Like for example, in I mean, in many of the jobs, people use Excel, right? There they are writing these formulas manually and creating these macros and those things. So those could easily be automated, because you can just write something in natural language. Like you can say, I want to do this, this, this. So the AI agent will basically do it for you, right? And similarly, like AI agent could be helpful for you in making PowerPoint presentations, where you might want to put certain pictures, and then you can just say, type in that I want the picture of this, 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 and then it will generate a picture, and then you can help you in designing the PowerPoint slides as well, right? And also, I mean, going through a lot of data, it could help you in analysis of that data, right? And that is another. And also, I mean, you seek certain information quickly about, let's say, certain documents in your company. There also AI can help you. You just have some sort of a localized or a company-specific chat GPT, where you type in certain query and it will answer you and tell you the entire process, what has to be done. And more also on the logistics side, many of the paper related process could be just simply automated, right? I mean, form filling and all those things, many of these could be easily automated. So I think in office space, there's a lot of scope for AI to chip in, basically.
Right, right. Absolutely, sir. So Aman has another question for us. What are your thoughts about the recent upsurge in the domain? Oh, sorry, no, we've already asked that.
Sorry, what?
No, I was confused. We've already asked this question. My apologies for being in that. So another one is that though AI is a buzzword, but it also seems very, very far-fetched to achieve in terms of a professional career. How do you suppose we navigate out of it?
I don't think it's that far-fetched to achieve it in professional career. If you do things right and build your fundamentals, I think it is doable. Because see, nowadays many of the students who join at bachelor's level, they do this 4 years of bachelor's, and then after that they get really good hands-on on the AI technologies, and they are able to sort of work in the industry, which is working in these AI technologies. So I don't think it's that difficult if you put in the right effort and follow the fundamentals and make your foundation strong, then it's easily doable.
Right, sir. I think that's all that we have in terms of the questions. If anybody else wants to ask anything, we're still in our conversation and we'll take up your questions over here. While we are still waiting for maybe a couple of more questions, and before we end this, sir, just a little, maybe a brief or your insights on the CSE and the computer science being the base route of getting into AI and ML, etc. But also how people who are in other industries or in other fields, especially people who are studying some different fields of engineering, how do they with interest in this domain, how do you suppose that they can navigate into something like this, become professionals in this, or utilize the technology in whatever work they are doing? So this cross this thing, because not everybody can do a computer science engineering, and from whatever I've understood from you, it's not necessary to do the computer science engineering also per se. So how do we navigate from one field to the other?
Yeah, so see, I think these AI-based learnings or AI learning about AI technology is going to become sort of common. That's what I think is in the future. These are going to become common across all the streams. So, like in IIT, like there are certain courses which students do in first year, and these are like one of the courses is like introduction to computing, which is like a programming course where they learn C programming, and this is common across all streams independent of which branch you are in. So something similar I see for machine learning also happening, like it will become common across all the streams because it is sort of need of the hour, because these machine learning techniques you use in various other fields as well, not just computer science, right? So there you should have this skill set of machine learning. But like what happens in IIT and in IIT Kanpur and other IITs also, that the courses which are AI related courses which are offered, uh, students have the flexibility of particularly the students in other branches have the flexibility of attending these courses as well, and taking these courses as crediting these courses as well. So that's how they sort of build their non-CSE students also build their AI profile basically, right? Uh, something similar you could do is like you try to attend the courses, AI based courses in which are being offered possibly in the computer science department, and try to build from that. And also on your own, also you have to do a lot of self learning and build that knowledge basically.
Right, sir. We have one more question from Akash, who's asking, I have knowledge of mathematics and coding, but I am not able to understand how to and from where to start AIML. Please tell me a path to build this foundation.
Yeah, so see, if you already have good foundation of coding and mathematics, then I think first step I would suggest is start with machine learning. And as I said, like pick up a really suppose if you are you want to learn in an online setting, then pick up a course where machine learning is being taught by some really good person, like someone who has experience in machine learning, possibly some professor who has experience in machine learning. So pick up that and start working on machine learning first. And once you have a good grasp or good understanding of machine learning, then go for more specialized things like reinforcement learning or natural language processing and computer vision and these kind of things, right? So that is one of the paths I would suggest for you to follow.
Right, sir. We have another question from Priyanshu, who's asking, it's specifically for you, sir, who's asking, looking back at your career, what were some of the pivotal moments or decisions that significantly influenced your path in academia and research?
Yeah, so yeah, that's an interesting question. So I think one significant or sort of a turning point for me was like so after my master's, I actually joined a company, and there I started. I was working on one project which was on the machine learning side. At that point, I sort of got interested in machine learning, and then at that point, I decided to go for a PhD in the field. And then after that, I think things changed completely. So I mean, I started doing PhD in machine learning, and after that I did some, after that, I also worked in the industrial research lab, which was also related to machine learning and AI. Right. So that sort of also helped me a lot because I got a different perspective about how these technologies are used in the industry. But I was more interested in the research side of things. So that's why I decided to come back to academia after my during my job in the industry after my PhD. And after that, I think things have always been sort of interesting and very challenging, but at the same time very interesting because AI research is sort of a bit challenging.
Right, sir. A follow-up on that is that how does somebody identify what they want to do early in their career?
I think it's based on your interest, right? It's your calling basically, right? So you get that calling. I mean, see, I would suggest if you're confused, then you should try out different things. Try, like, let's say, for example, you try out cybersecurity, do some courses in cybersecurity, do one or two projects there, do some projects in ML, AI, and those kind of things. So try out different things, and then I'm sure if you do these projects sincerely, then you will already know by the end of these projects that what you really want to do in your career. So that will help you, and also always be curious to know things because that curiosity is actually going to help you to learn more. So that curiosity is very, very important. Otherwise, if you don't have that curiosity, then it's going to be more of a burden for you, and you don't want to end up with a burden, right? So go for things only if you are really interested in and you are curious about it. Otherwise, there's no point in going there, basically. I mean, then you should go for some other job where you are actually really interested in.
Right, sir. So that's about it from the questions. If I may summarize some of the things for the students who are listening to us or the young professionals who are listening to us, the crux of the matter is that start. If you start, you will reach somewhere. Explore, um, experiment as much as you can, and that's how you will figure out whether this is the field or which field is it that you really want to do. Even in this field, AI is so huge that you would probably need to find even a more fine-tuned path for yourself. So being at it and trying every day that's what the key to all of this is. Any last words, sir, before we conclude the discussion?
Actually, you just stole my words. Exactly, that's the thing, right? So you need to be
Sorry for
curious.
that.
No problem. So you need to be curious and keep exploring, and always be enthusiastic about things that you are doing. And see, one day you will find your calling, basically, right? So you have to just keep exploring till you find it.
Absolutely rightly said, sir. On that note, we are going to take your leave. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, today. And thank you, everyone who's in the audience. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for listening to us. All the best for your journey, and see you again sometime.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Bye.